Hello and welcome to Musepen.com video tutorial. In this video tutorial, we are going to talk about the changes being made into form widget in the latest release of Muse CC 2015. The first change that has been made is the inclusion of radio button group. The second one is the inclusion of checkbox group, and the third one is with the email field. So I will just show those changes one by one. So let's just go back to Adobe Muse and let's just open a form. So let me just first of all show you how do we include and how do we work with radio button checkbox. Sorry, radio button groups. So once you have the form ready and once you want to include your radio buttons into the form, just click on the form once so that the form is selected and then go to the options panel. In the options panel, now you have an option to add radio button group. So once you do that, once you click onto the plus icon, by default it would add a radio button group with a label at the top, and by default it would have two radio buttons with their label also. So if you want to change it, you can definitely double click onto the label and you want to change it. So let's say I would like to say Muse version. Similarly, if you want to change the label for this radio button, you can just double click onto the label and then you can type it and make the changes. Similarly with the other one. And this is how you change the label for the radio buttons. Now in case you want to add another radio button to this group, so what you need to do, first of all, click outside, first click with select form, hover over the radio button group. Once you see its tooltip, click on it again, and then in the option of that radio button group you would get an option to add another radio button. Along with that, you can also make sure whether you want it to be a required entry or not, or whether you want this label to be shown or not. So it's totally depends on how you want to customize your form. So let's say I want to add another radio button, so I'll just click onto this button and another radio button will be added. So I'll just double click on it again and I will make it Muse CC 2015. So this is how it works. So now the next question is, once you are done completing this form, how would the filled up form would look once you receive the email on the submission? So let me just take you to a live page and let me show you. So this is a button I have created, and one more thing I just missed to tell you, let me just share it back with you. So but as this is a radio button, and if you want a particular radio button to be checked by default, what you need to do, you need to select a particular radio button, okay, and go to its option, and there is an option to check it by default, so it would look like that. And also there is one more feature. In case you want to customize this radio button, this icon, so just click on it, make sure it is selected, and at the top it should say radio button, and then you can go to the fill section and you can see there is an image used for all the stages, for checked, unchecked, rollover, all those stages. So you can select every stage one by one and you can add your custom radio button image also, and you can give it your own custom look. So this is all we have about radio button groups. Now let me just show you how would it look once you receive this form. So let's say if I fill up this form with my name, email address, message, and if I, let's say I just want to select Muse CC 2015. So once I receive this form, this is how it would look. It would have my name, email address, message, and whichever radio button is checked, the name label of that radio button would be mentioned under this. So it would show the label of that radio button checkbox and the label of the radio button being checked. So this is how you can come to know that which radio button was selected at the time of submission. So this is all I have about radio button group. Now let's move back to checkbox group. So let's just delete it first. Okay. Now, similarly, open your form, go to the options, and there is another option for checkbox group. So just select that and it would create a checkbox group. So let's say, like we did last time, Muse version. So in radio button, you have option to select only one checkbox, only one radio button. But in case of checkboxes, you can have multiple selections. So let's just quickly make it for you. Muse CC 7.4, Muse CC 2014, and likewise we created another radio button in the previous exercise. Similarly, if you want to add another checkbox, you just need to go to the option panel of the checkbox group and click onto the plus checkbox, and another checkbox would be created, and then you can rename its label. So let's say it's Muse CC 2015. Similarly, if you want a particular checkbox to be checked by default, so go to its options and check it by default. So in this case, let's say I want both of these to be checked. So it would be checked like that. And if you want it to be required entry, you can uncheck it or check it as per your requirement. So this is how you work with these forms. Again, like the radio buttons, the checkbox icon, if you want to change its image, you can select the related stage that you want to customize, and then you can go to fill and change the checkbox image. So it's almost same as the radio button, it just gives you multiple selection choice. So once I submit this form, okay, let me just show you one more thing. Apart from this checkbox, if you want to add a standalone single checkbox, you can also do that as it was available in the past. So go to the options and click onto the checkbox. Now it would be added out of that checkbox group. So let's say I want to give this option for a newsletter confirmation. So send me email, and let's say I want it to be checked by default. So now let me show you how would it look once a form is submitted like that. So let's just scroll down. I have an example ready. So this is a checkbox case where I have my name, email address, message, and in the first section of Muse version I have two items selected, Muse CC 2014 and 2015. Also the send email is checked. So once I fill up this form, let me show you how would it look once I receive this email. So it would have my name, email address and message. Now in the Muse version, it has two values. So whichever checkbox your site visitor selects, value or label of that is included into the email. So under Muse version, we have both Muse CC 2014 and Muse CC 2015 as we have selected. And for a standalone checkbox, the value that you receive is into true and false value. So if it is checked, you would receive its value as true, and if it is not checked, the value would be false. So this is how the radio button group and the checkbox group work. Now the third and the most demanded feature in Muse has been given to these forms. So earlier the email field was something that was a big problem because it was a mandatory field and it was a required field. But there were some cases then where you don't even need an email, you just want a person to fill up some basic values. But earlier it was this required entry option was grayed out, so you could not make it unrequired, and also there was no option to delete this field. Now if you have the option to make it non-required entry, and also if you want to delete it, you can do that. So I think you don't have to use any third-party widget now to create a form without an email field. So now this widget has the option for that, and you can happily go ahead and make your forms the way you want it to. So this is all I have about this video. In case you have any other doubt or any inquiry, feel free to send us an email on contact@musepen.com, and we would be getting back to you for sure. So this is all I have in this video. Enjoy Muse Form and enjoy Muse CC 2015. Have a nice day ahead. Bye bye.